What's up, guys? Welcome back to the channel. Boozer here. Thanks for stopping by. In today's video, we're going to cover the Pirates Path, and we're going to break down every single path and give you guys the point breakdowns on how much points you guys will need to get each reward. But first, make sure you guys check the shop. If you guys are using some of these Plarium platforms, you guys will be picking up a free gift. It's worth 4,500 pirate points, which is the equivalent of one sacred shard. So make sure you guys pick that up. If you guys don't use any of these platforms, the web store, Plarium Play, or official Android app, you guys can use those links on the image here and then try to get those for you guys. 4,500 points. I mean, that's pretty significant. It's a free sacred shard. So make sure you guys scoop that up whenever. If you guys don't see the gift, just restart your client and hopefully it's there. So let's get that out of the way here. So let's keep that in mind as we go through some of these details here. So we got the Pirates Path. It's active. It's been going on for a couple hours already. You can kind of see it's a little bit big. It's a little bit big. There's a lot of stuff going on here. We got the 400 Titan points, which is pretty huge. 5 stacks of 80. So that's going to be 400 in total. We have Edward, champion, Edward the soul. Make sure you guys don't mess that up because I've seen people mess that up. They went for the soul when they wanted to go for the champion and vice versa. And then we have Edward's avatar here. We also have 100 of these mythical fragments as well, hidden behind the champions, which is just insane. So yeah, there's a lot going on here. Keep in mind that there is some key locks here, and we are given one key, which is great. Given one key. The objectives for this Pirates Path is to upgrade champions and summon champions. Summoning champions will only occur from shards, not from anywhere else like portals and stuff like that. So only shards will be counted. The other thing here is upgrading champions. So training champions, getting levels or upgrading their rank. We see the shard breakdown here. Saw the same 300, 750, 1800, 4500. There's been times where they've increased the value of individual shards just to make them a little bit more enticing to pull. But in this path, there is no such boost. There is also a progressive event happening right now. Yep, there's some progressives happening. So you got, extra shot at some of these champions. Basim would be the one that most people would probably not have. And then for the voids, we have Bayek, which is really, really nice. And then we have Pontiff as well. Pontiff, I still think he's going to have some kind of guaranteed event, maybe next weekend or something. So maybe hold out for him there. But yeah, if you're pulling Void Shards, Bayek's going to be a good prize to go after, I guess. And if you guys are going for the Pelops 1500 point 5-star soul, you guys can only skip 250 points, which means you guys must do at least 150 points from this pirate path, which means you have to get at least 2 of these 80 buckets of points. Okay, so make sure you guys keep that in mind. It looks like 240 of them, these 4 and even this one, actually all of them look relatively accessible, like even the full 400. The paths don't really connect super well, so you do have to go through some of the intermediate prizes before getting them, but they don't look too bad. So let's break it down a little bit further here and we'll check out the exact point totals of what we need for each reward. All right, guys, we will be using the rsl-x.vercel.app website to do this path breakdown here. I'll leave a link in the description below. It's a very handy tool. There's a lot of useful info on this website. Make sure you guys check that out for that planning. So first, if you guys are going for Edward, that's going to be probably the biggest prize in this entire hero's path. It is actually pretty straightforward. So first you start with whatever reward from the top 4 that you want. Let's go for the core hammer since it's a little bit harder to get. We'll go with 3,500 points celestial crystals. And then we'll get the anniversary points along the way. We do have 1 key available. We're not going to use it yet. Let's pick up the legendary chaos ore, which is the cheapest one. We're just going with the cheapest route to Edward right now. We have 1 key available to us. We're going to open a lock and we're going to get Edward. Edward's total cost is going to be 77,000 points. 77,000 points. We already got 4,500 from that free gift that they gave us. Total cost for Edward alone is going to be 16 sacred shards after the free gift. So if you guys receive the free gift, he's going to cost just a shy of 16 sacred shards worth. In terms of cost for a champion in 2026 in raid, this is a relatively reasonable cost. Now, if, for example, you wanted his soul instead of the champion, which I am in that position. So you basically would go the other way, go 6,000 key soul. His soul would cost 67,000 total points, which is 10,000 less than the champion. And the total cost for his soul is 15 sacred shards. And then you subtract one. So it's going to be 14 sacred shards after the free gift that we got. Again, it's reasonable for 2026 standards, right? Now, what if you wanted both? This is kind of when it gets kind of crazy. But yeah, we'll chart that out for you guys. You have to go through 50 of these celestial crystals first. So that's going to be, a big cost sink because we have to go get the secondary key. So let's go for the crystals, get the second key. And now we're going to go down and pick up Edward. So key and then Edward here. And the total cost is going to cost us 149,000 points. And that's going to cost us approximately 33 sacred shards before the discount, about 32 sacred shards for both the champion and the soul. Pretty heavy cost, but when you're factoring in that you're getting a champion with the 5-star soul right out of the box, ready to be used, it's much cheaper than, for example, Leonardo. Leonardo costs close to 40 sacred shards for his soul and his champion. So, Edward here, much cheaper, coming in at about 32 sacred shards. Obviously, still a expensive cost for a champion, but for raid standard, it is the cost you have to pay for a champion in this game. Now, let's say you don't want any of this because it's just way too expensive. How do you continue, participating in the Titan event? How do you continue participating in getting the 5-star soul for Pelops or just getting points in general? So let's clear all this stuff. And I'm going to tell you guys how to get the minimum points that you guys will need to go continue in the Titans event so that you guys can still get the 5-star soul. You guys just go straight down. Boom. All right. So that gives you 160 Titan points, which is the minimum that you need to still be in the running for the 5-star soul for Pelops. And that's going to cost you 17,000 points. Minus, keep in mind, 4,500 from the free gift. So that's going to be only 12,500. And the total cost in terms of sacred shards is actually going to be 3.8 sacred shards, which means it's going to be 2.8 after you take the free gift. I think that's pretty reasonable considering that this is a pretty big event. It combines 2 events into one, and your total commitment is 3 sacred shards, and then you can still continue on and still be in the running to get the 5 stars. So I think that's relatively reasonable for most people. Now, what if you wanted all the Titan points? Like I said, there's 5 nodes, 80 each, and the nodes look relatively accessible, right? So first, let's get the ones on the left-hand side, and then we're going to have to go and get the ones in the middle and the right-hand side as well. So let's pick up the gems. Let's pick that up, and there we go. So that's all 400. 400 is going to cost you 48,000 points, which is the equivalent of just under 11 sacred shards, 10.7 sacred shards. But then keep in mind, we get 1 for free, which means the total cost would be under 10 sacred shards. Now that's roughly the equivalent of what you would pay for like an epic in a, summon rush for a fusion, right? Roughly the equivalent. But here we're getting 400 Titan points. 400 Titan points, it could be the equivalent of knocking off like 4 or 5 events, right? Similar to how an epic would work in a fusion. So again, not too unreasonable there for the overall cost. Now, how does energy work with this, with training and all that? Because training is going to be the secondary requirement for everything. It's not just shards. You definitely want to bring down your shard requirement by spending energy training for the next 4 days because it's a pirate's path. So I did find a spreadsheet here from HH Gaming from Saphira, and it's during the Fabian Heroes Path event for his soul, last year, 6th anniversary. And it's identical. It's shards and training. So it was a really easy plug and play formula for his spreadsheet. So I'm going to put that up on the screen right now. And then it does give you a nice little breakdown here. So I did fill in some of the blanks and I did update some of the figures because at that time they had a boosted primal shard points rate. But for this Heroes Pass, we don't have any of that. So I did update that a little bit. Obviously, I updated the categories here. So we have Edward. His 5-star soul, Edward plus his 5-star soul, 150 Titan points, and then 400 Titan points here. Like I said, total cost does not include the free gift. So 17.1 for Edward, 14.9 for his soul, 33.1 sacred shards for Edward and his soul, 3.8 for 150 time points. 400 time points going to set you back 10.7 time points. Now, in terms of energy, what you can do energy wise in a campaign for training, this is how much things are going to cost. Edward's going to cost you 16,000 energy, or 17,000 energy if you're building rank 2s all the way to rank 6. You still need the champions to level up. The energy cost doesn't seem that much, but you still need the champions to level up, and it's going to be a lot of champions to level up. And then you guys can kind of see the energy breakdown here for each of the rewards. I can drop the spreadsheet link in the description below as well, or the pinned comment, so you guys can check it out and use it yourself. Like I said, I can't take credit for this spreadsheet. It's from Saphir from HH Gaming. He made it last year, but it gives you a rough idea what to expect in terms of overall resource spending for these different rewards, right? If you're looking for basically the 100 mythical mats, now this is probably going to be the most expensive because you have to clear both Edward and his 5-star soul to get the mythical mats. It's actually kind of insane that they set it up this way. And I really wonder how many people would actually go this route, because this is like pure Kraken territory, right? Like, you're going to go down, get the key. First of all, you got to get the key, and then you're going to go down and then get the Edward, and then that's going to be your total cost. So a total cost can be 164,000. You're going to walk away with both Edward, his 5-star soul, and the 100 crystals. And the total cost for that will be 36.4 sacred shards worth of points. It's pretty significant, right? It's pretty significant amount of resources. But I think, this is going to be probably the last hurrah for the Assassin's Creed. If you've been saving up for 3 months, this amount of resources might not seem so crazy. So, this is the event that you've been waiting for, kind of thing. Now, in my previous video, I did highlight that Edward was probably not going to be somebody that I would be going for on my alt account. I have 36 sacred shards on my alt account, and I think I'm going to hold on to it. I highlighted that his A3 is, his main ability. It gives him the veil. It gives him the ability to block revive. But yeah, like I said, with the inclusion of Mercurial set, the Ignore Stoneskin builds are probably going to be much more limited. Not saying that Stoneskin is going to totally exit the meta, because nukers still prefer being in Stoneskin because they have to pair Stoneskin with an Ignore defense set like Savage or Lethal. But I'm just saying his A3 is probably just going to be way, way less effective. People are saying like his A1 and A2 are good for PvE. For my account, I don't need help from him in any kind of PvE content, so that doesn't really ring for me. But if you guys want to get Edward and you guys are in the early, mid, or progressing through the game stage, then yes, his A1 and A2 can definitely help you out there. The argument that his A2 can help you remove Mercurial stack, I mean, at that point, you're just getting him for an AoE multi-hitter. If your account is at that stage where you can afford to spend these resources just for an AoE multi-hitter, then sure, that works. And then the other glaring negative about him is that in any kind of prolonged fight, he has no way to keep himself alive. So you need somebody else to keep him alive, which is pretty difficult nowadays since there's champions in this game, in the arena, that can do everything themselves. They don't need to rely on anybody else. So having a champion that, has to rely on everybody else to stay alive, it's a little bit, it's a little bit negative. So to me, his damage test tested out good. And against Stoneskin meta, he's very good. But I just thought the rise of Mercurial would definitely, bring him down a little bit. And since Mercurial is just going to be more and more prevalent, he's just going to be more and more less used, or just less and less used. Sorry. Anyways, not saying he's a bad champ, just saying that I'm going to pass on this one just because of the resource spend, just because of the meta moving away from him a little bit. But you guys assess your own accounts accordingly with the information given to you guys here. So anyways, guys, that's going to be it for the video. Hopefully this was informative for you guys. Hopefully this gives you guys a good explanation and outlook on everything so that you guys have proper expectations going in. This is not an early game event. You're not going to get Edward, if you've been playing the game for 1 month, 2 months, 3 months, unless you're spending a boatload of cash. Yeah, like I said, 17 sacred shards, 16 sacred shards just for the champion. In terms of costs, that's a couple $100. If you're thinking to do it with energy, you still need chickens. You still need, the champions to level up. You still need time. Champion training is just, time intensive as well. So it's not an easy event. So if you're thinking about doing it as an early game or a mid game player, don't really bother. Get some of the low hanging fruit. Maybe get the Titan points so that you guys can get some of the rewards from the Titan event as well. I think for most people, if you're just actively playing the game for 4 days, you guys should clear 160 Titan points from this hero's path without too much effort, maybe without even pulling a single shard. And then you guys can still be in the running to get the 5-star Pelop Soul, which makes the Pelop Titan Soul actually one of the cheaper Titan events that we've had, in my opinion, because you can skip pretty much the bulk of this event and then, tackle the rest of the events, and then you'll be okay. So in that sense, it is a little bit more of a friendly Titan event. Anyways, that's going to be it for the video. Thank you guys so much for watching until the end. Let me know in the comments below if I made a mistake or anything like that. I'll provide the relevant links in the description and the pinned comment just to help you guys out. And yeah, leave a like, leave a subscribe if you guys enjoy the content and all that stuff. Have a great day, and I'll see you guys in the next video.